Welcome to the Inside Silverstone podcast, a business-focused podcast covering all things tech, engineering and innovation. Hosted by me, Chris Broome, a huge tech, motorsport and gaming fan, and also the owner of Longhurst, a firm of lifestyle financial planners and independent financial advisors located in Silverstone, Northamptonshire. This is a series of unscripted and unpolished conversations with leading business owners, thought leaders and high-tech talent where we discuss their experiences within the Silverstone business and motorsport region. We will also be asking them to share their knowledge, insight and their thoughts on the future just for you. If you're looking to learn more about the Silverstone high growth region and commercially connect with like-minded peers, you've definitely come to the right place. Welcome to Inside Silverstone. Welcome to the next edition of Inside Silverstone. My name is Chris Broome and I am your host. Today I am delighted to welcome to the show a new friend, Fiona Pawley from Fiona the Coach. Fiona, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris. Nice to see you.
Fantastic. Well, we finally got you booked in. So yeah. Fiona, you know, our paths crossed on LinkedIn, as many do, with you being and having a career and a fantastic career involved and including sort of motorsport, and also, you know, I read the Financial Times, which is our background with Longhurst as a financial company. And so we agreed that we'd get you on and then have a quick talk about what you do, your experiences before, current projects, life during COVID, etc., etc. So, Fiona the Coach. So my first question is, what's a coach and why do I need one as an individual or as a business?
Well, I think we can all do without them, but a business coach or even a life coach or a career coach, we're there to motivate you, celebrate your successes, remind you how wonderful you are when you've forgotten, because quite often we're very good at remembering all the negative stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what we do isn't rocket science, actually. It's very simple, and it's lots of, you know, clearing the thoughts, creating perspective, and actually enabling you to make good decisions based on true facts rather than the kind of fantasy sometimes we tell ourselves, I'm not good enough, or I'm not confident enough, or, you know, I don't know where to take my business. And so a coach is like a personal trainer. Not everyone has a personal trainer, but it's about life and work balance and actually helping you along your journey wherever you want to be, wherever you want to go. And so I think it's always good to have that outside perspective, someone who's not, you know, actually critical of your existing experience or lifestyle or, you know, business, but they can actually bring a bit of clarity, a bit of perspective, and then you can hit the ground running and make some really great decisions with that.
Yeah, I like it. And you on your profile, you've got an acronym of CHANGE. So what's CHANGE stand for?
Change. So it changes depending on the different scenarios that it's applying to. But essentially, change is, I believe in change by choice. Yeah. So I think we're all experiencing loads of change at the moment. You know, on Monday, we suddenly went back down to 6 people, for example. Yeah. And, you know, events businesses are really struggling, for example. Or the weather changes. So what jacket do I wear? So I believe in change by choice. So what do you do with your changing situation and how can you make your choices? So change is, you know, confidence, honesty, action's really key, navigation, so helping you find that way through in order to create growth. And I operate from a place of real encouragement. So I'm all about celebrating strengths, celebrating success, and being a cheerleader in your corner, really.
Love it, absolutely love it. And so you've got a background, so reading through your, you know, CV, as it were, through LinkedIn, which is what I do with everybody, always have a little geek out of what people have done. So you've been involved with previously, so you're a sponsorship and partnership director at F1 in Schools. So what's F1 in Schools for those that have never heard about it?
So F1 in Schools and also Formula Student are very similar programs. Yep. They're about young people. So F1 in Schools starts from primary schools and all the way go through to college, and then Formula Student is a university program. But essentially, young people design and build a racing car, whether it's an electronic remote control car or up to Formula Student, it's an actual full-sized car, and they are tested on their business acumen, on their sponsorship, on their marketing, on their engineering, on their teamwork, on their, they run a business effectively.
Yeah.
And so I really was drawn to both Formula Student and F1 in Schools, and particularly the partnership side of F1 in Schools, because I love engineers. I think they're very underestimated. And I've been saying for quite some time, I think engineers need a rebrand, a little bit like how Paralympics had a rebrand in 2012 and they became like these bionic superheroes and that kind of stuff. I think engineers need that marketing, if you like, because they affect every element of our day-to-day existence, from the car you drive, the mobile phone you use, the type of coffee you create, you make in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think they're underestimated. So engineers, engineering, STEM, I think it's such a fantastic career. And, you can travel the world in previous times, and hopefully that will come back. But particularly for encouraging girls or young women or, fully grown women into those areas of career development. I think generally when girls are good at maths or science or technology, they naturally gravitate towards the biological sciences because there's a human healthcare element to that. So I think their parents, their teachers, they kind of warm to that in terms of the female entity. Yes. Whereas actually you can do a bit like the Paralympics, you can do, kind of biological engineering and really create massive impact on people's lives and worlds and, all of that kind of stuff. But I don't think girls and women and, the education system really demonstrates that very well. So F1 in Schools, come back to your original question.
Yeah, obviously helps with that, right? Introduces it to them.
It really opens up that world, and it kind of, you might not be an engineer. I'd never be an engineer. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. Like, I'm just, it's not my thing. But I would happily work with an engineering company in their marketing or in their HR or in their coaching. And so it's just about opening up that communication between, new industries and new worlds that they would never have considered, really.
Nice, like it. And then you also had a role as Global Partnership Project Manager at the sort of motorsport arm of Shell. Is that right?
Yes. So I trained as a coach about 4 years ago now, and that's my love and my passion, but I need to pay the bills. So my experience has always been event and partnership management. That's, kind of how I've grown through my career. Yeah. And so I was approached to work on the motorsports partnerships team for Shell. And I initially said, no, thank you, because I've always worked for very small kind of organisations, and I like to create loads of change and loads of action. And I thought this big corporate wheel is not going to fit me very well, but I gave it a go. And I loved it, and it was great, and I learned lots of things, and I got to work on the Ferrari partnership in Formula One and the Formula E partnership with Nissan. That was a new program that we brought on board, and nice. BMW and all sorts of things. But I think, as I got more and more involved at Shell, my coaching kind of diminished because it was crazy busy, and I just have the time to invest in the business. And so in December, that contract came to an end, and I thought, great, I'm self-employed. I'm going to take 2 months off, January, February, kick back a bit, kind of, I deserve a break.
March came.
And then, ta-da, COVID.
Fuck.
So, yeah, best laid plans. So I see it as a bit of a gift, because actually my hand has really been turned. The events industry pretty much closed overnight, which I really feel for my colleagues and my friends. Motorsport also shut down, as we all know, and then kind of rapidly reopened. But it gave me time to actually refocus on the coaching business. And that is my passion, and that is what I love doing. And it's the thing that I create the best amount of value for my clients, and it's the thing I really want to be doing. And so I feel like COVID has kind of turned my hand. So that changed by choice.
Yeah.
I was applying for events jobs and this, that, and I was like, actually, what am I doing? this is my path and this is where I'm going. And so that's been a real gift actually from COVID for me.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Look at it as an opportunity. So we're going to come back to the coaching bit in a bit, because I really want to talk about how you help companies and also individuals. But I really want to get into the genesis quickly of why, you know, motorsport and engineering, because you're saying you love engineers, but what's the sort of backstory? Because presumably, you know, Fiona growing up didn't think to herself, I'm going to get involved in motorsport because it's a passion of mine. What was the sort of entry into? Presumably there was a role or an introduction where you got invited to do something, and then beyond that was everything else.
Sure. So I was studying my business studies degree at Kingston University, and I had to do a work placement. So I found this remote island on the Great Lakes of Michigan, which is beautiful, and it's a Victorian tourist destination. And I packed my bags and I skipped off to America when I was 21, and there are no cars on the island. It's horses and carriages and bicycles and
Nice.
lots of fudge, actually. It's
What island is this?
It's called Mackinac Island. You spell it Mackinac, but it.
Oh wow, and it's full of fudge. I mean, I need to be moving operations to this island. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. So I was living in Mackinac Island, and I got contacted about a hospitality job at Stefan Rattel Motorsports organisation, and I was coming back to the UK, and I just said yes. And I had no idea that motorsport existed as an industry. Wasn't a fan. Never watched it, was never on at home. You know, I'm not really into my cars either. And I started working for Stefan, SRO Motorsports Group, and it was a 6-month contract, and I was there for nearly a decade. So I worked in the hospitality programs for what was the FIA GT Championship. I remember going to Barcelona in March for the test day. It was the first ever race circuit I'd been to. I was terrified. I got paraded up and down the pit lane by my boss, introducing me to all these scary teams, and there was, you know, fuel lines and trip hazards, and I was just like, this is nuts. So I hid in hospitality for a whole season and only spoke to the people I absolutely had to speak to, which was a bit embarrassing at the final awards ceremony when the champions of that year I was talking to at the bar, they were like, you have no idea who we are. And I was like, no. And they'd won the championship. And I was like, well done you, you know. And I was terrified. So it grew, and so when I started, Stefan had 4 championships. We were part of the Eurosport super racing weekends with European touring cars and the FIA GT. And then as it grew, I think when I left, there was about 14 championships that we were running.
Wow.
But we hadn't really increased the staff in the same ratio. So you got lots of promotion, lots more responsibility, but you tended not to relinquish your existing jobs, because it's like a family-run business. It's, you know, it's a fantastic company. I loved working for Stefan. But it gave me lots of autonomy. It gave, you know, if I went to him with an idea, it was fine, like just run with it. So was hospitality, moved into championship management, which was a real baptism of fire for me. So I started coordinating the British Formula 3 Championship as was. And yeah, knew nothing about regulations or race control or signing on or reprimanding drivers, but I learned really quickly.
Wow.
And some of my children, as I like to say, you know, they've done really well. So Jean-Eric Verne in Formula E, and Daniel Ricciardo and Sergio Perez. And so that I was there during their Formula 3 days, which was fantastic. I loved it. So being part of that community, yes, I still don't consider myself a motorsport fan, but I just love the culture and the environment of motorsport and that real can-do attitude. And, you know, race day Sunday, like, we'll get it done. There's lots of camaraderie as much as there's competition. So you can ask people for help, and, you know, if you get stuck. So yeah, it was a fantastic introduction to a world that I had no idea existed.
Often the way though, which is great. And so let's pretend for a moment I run an engineering business or a small motorsport or motorsport type company. How can you help me and my company transition from where we are 2020 COVID through to the new norm? How can you help me with partnerships? How can you help me engage with customers or growing my customer base? So opportunity for you to really sell what you do. So how can you help us?
So effectively, I start with just a conversation, really. What are your challenges? What are you coming up against? What's the common themes that you're, kind of repeating? Where do you want to make some change? What are you looking for? And then effectively, we kind of just clear the decks a bit and create some clarity around that. And through various different exercises and conversations, it gives you some perspective. I work on the basis of strengths and values. So what are your strengths? And I know in like big corporate organizations, quite often individuals will be put on training courses to, you're not very good at time management, so we'll give you a course about time management. Actually, let's flip it on its head. What are you excellent at? And let's really maximize that and really dial it up. Okay, you need to be good at other things at a fairly standard level, but the things, your strengths and your values for your business, for your customers, let's really, really identify them, make them really clear. And then you can actually launch off of that. So it becomes your building blocks of decisions that you're making, the direction that your business is going in. We are in a constant flux of change. How are you coping with that change? How are your individuals coping with that change? Lots of people are now working from home. For some people that works really well. For others, there's too much pressure with family or mental health or well-being. Actually, what do you and your individuals of your business need? So let's create a really clear identification of what is the current status. Then where do we want to go? And we just build the building blocks of how you move forward. So it's not rocket science, like I said to you before. It is very common sense, it's very practical, it's very action-based, but literally, where are you today? What's stopping you? Let's unpick all of that and move it forward. And stop doing, one of my big questions when I start working with people is, what do you tolerate? So we tolerate lots of different things because we expect to have to tolerate them. Actually, the question is, do you need to? And if you don't, how can you outsource it? Or how can you share that burden? Or, what can you do? Because work is hard enough, particularly at the moment, and home is also hard enough, particularly at the moment. So let's start from a basis of strengths and values and all the things that you enjoy and build out from there, because it's going to make the hard times so much easier and it's going to make the successes so much greater because it's what you love.
Love it. Okay. And so presumably at the moment, you're looking for new clients like everyone is. And so we're going to make sure we leave links to your website and your business in the show notes, so our fantastic listeners and people watching this on YouTube, etc., can find you.
And so just on that, if they just want a phone call, and just have a chat, there's no obligation, we can just have a conversation and see where you're at and what you might need. And it might not be me, it might be someone else, but I'm happy to have a conversation.
Cool. Are there any projects you're working on at the moment that you can tell us about? Anything that's interesting, anything that's going to spark an interest?
So I'm formulating a project specifically for motorsport, actually, for racing teams. So that's something that's kind of in the pipeline, and it's a remote coaching wellbeing support network. Yep. So, with Formula One as an example, they've done 3 triple headers on the bounce. By the time they got to Mugello, everyone was overly fatigued, tempers are short. People are under a lot of stress and pressure, either being away from home or feeling the concerns and risks of COVID, or just the fatigue of doing 9 events on the bounce. Yeah. So it's providing a in real time remote service for your team, for your individuals, whether it's management or mechanics, it doesn't matter, to actually have short, sharp 20-minute coaching sessions where they can contact me and we can get them through the hurdle that they're experiencing and sort of pull them out of the fog, if you like, because I've been racetrack side. I know what the pressure's like. I know people don't feed themselves well, or you don't drink enough water, and you're on your feet all day, and people are chain smoking. Well, they used to be. There might be chain vaping behind the garages, and it's not necessarily a healthy environment. So it's providing that kind of release valve, if you like, and it's about incremental, short, marginal changes that actually create efficiencies and change the way of working or change the way of communication or understanding. Actually, that argument I had with this person, it's not about me, it's about this situation, it's not personal. And kind of trying to remove that emotion from it, just to help people be healthier and have better well-being, really.
I really like that. There's something that you and I can definitely talk about off air, because we're literally about to launch a sort of corporate stroke enterprise service, going out providing financial well-being to all of our clients' businesses, as well as Silverstone Park and all the businesses associated with Silverstone Park. And so bolting in a human-focused coaching element to that, I think would be a nice touch. So great idea. Right, going to start closing this off, Fiona. So thank you so much for coming on the show. As I said to everyone listening to this, there's going to be links in the show notes so you can find Fiona. I highly endorse that you do that, certainly just for an initial conversation, as she has said. 2 final questions.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, it's 2021. We've all had our injections, our vaccinations. What are you looking forward to doing the most that you can't currently do at the moment?
Travel. 100%.
Where are you going to go?
I celebrated my 40th birthday in lockdown this year, and I was meant to be going to Budapest for my birthday weekend, so that would definitely be back on the agenda. Italy is a country that I absolutely adore, so I think I'd definitely be tripping across to Italy and eating lots of good food, and maybe driving a little Fiat 500 around in the countryside. So yeah, I think travel is good. What was that?
I'm celebrating my 40th during COVID as well in November. What was it like? Because I was hoping to go away, hoping to do a big party.
I was really spoilt. So my very good friend Abby Hay, who is also in motorsport, she's a very well-known character, and my wonderful partner Peter completely filled this room with helium balloons and streamers. It took them nearly 5 hours to construct this fantasy land for me, and I hosted my own birthday bingo. So I had like a game show kind of sequined outfit, and yeah, we did birthday bingo. You could win a toilet roll because that was a real, commodity at the time. So yeah, it was good. It was nice.
Excellent. And belated happy birthday. Right, last question. This question has taken decades of traveling the world and speaking to gurus and up in Nepal and speaking to the Yodas of the world to really formulate the most important question you're ever going to be asked in your career, Fiona. So I'm going to literally do a drum roll. What is the king, or maybe the queen, of crisps?
It is obviously crunchy Cheetos.
Crunchy Cheetos. Okay, what flavour? Are they one flavour or multi?
They do this weird fire flavour. Stay away from that. Just pure original cheese crunchy Cheetos.
Done.
So they have like this. I mean, it's almost the colour of my nails. You end up with a complete dusting of this nuclear orange, cheesy flavour, and they're amazing. So if any of the listeners can send crunchy Cheetos over from America, I'd
Can you only buy them in the States?
You can get them here, but they're just not the same. But yeah, they're an American delicacy.
You've got to be hitting up Amazon, surely, to be getting some of those delivered.
Maybe.
Fantastic. Fiona, thank you so much for coming on the show. As I've said, guys, you can find her contact details and website, etc. in the show notes. Obviously, hook up with her, speak to her about whether or not she can help you develop your business, push it forward, or indeed even you personally. And Fiona, we're definitely going to talk off air regarding potentially a sort of workplace type solution, because I think that's a fabulous, fabulous idea.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
The Inside Silverstone podcast is produced by the team at Longhurst for the benefit of those with a passion for all things tech, engineering and innovation. For more information, please visit longhurst.co.uk/Inside Silverstone, whilst also remembering to give us a 5 out of 5 star rating on iTunes. Please note that neither Chris Broome or Longhurst work for Silverstone Park, Silverstone Circuit or Silverstone Technology Cluster.